It all started one seemingly normal evening, like any other. I had just wrapped up a long day at work, tired but content. My fiancée, Sarah, had been waiting for me at home with a dinner she prepared. We'd been planning our wedding for months. Everything was falling into place, the venue, the dress, the guest list, and I couldn't have been happier. We had a perfect life, or at least, that's what I thought. But that night, everything changed. I walked in, the smell of pasta and garlic filling the air. Sarah was smiling, wearing the same look of affection that I'd seen 100 times. It was nothing extraordinary, but I felt this quiet warmth inside. We sat down to eat, but something felt off. It wasn't anything I could put my finger on, just a nagging feeling in my gut. "Something's wrong," I said, looking at her, trying to figure out what it was. Sarah's smile faltered, but she quickly covered it up. She always did that. She had a way of hiding her emotions when something was bothering her, and for the first time, it left me feeling uneasy. But I pushed it aside. I couldn't let something so small ruin the evening. After all, we had so many plans, so many dreams we were working on together. The evening went on, but that feeling gnawed at me. After dinner, we moved to the couch. I had my laptop open, checking emails, while Sarah flipped through a magazine. Her phone buzzed a couple of times, and each time she glanced at it, her face tightened, but she didn't say anything. It was subtle, almost imperceptible, but I noticed. I thought maybe I was being paranoid. Maybe it was nothing. But deep down, I knew something wasn't right. When she went to the bathroom, I found myself staring at her phone lying on the coffee table. It wasn't like me to snoop. I trusted her completely. But the buzzing of her phone earlier had stirred something inside me. Something I couldn't ignore. I picked it up and unlocked it. There was one message at the top. From Jake. "I can't wait to see you tomorrow, Sarah. This weekend is going to be amazing. I miss you." I froze. Jake? That name burned through me like fire. Jake was my best friend. We'd known each other since high school. He'd been to every family gathering, every holiday, every celebration. He was my brother, in a way. And now here he was, sending these texts to my fiancée. Something didn't add up. I quickly locked the phone and set it back down. But my heart was racing. My mind was reeling. What the hell was going on? I had to find out. When Sarah returned, I acted normal, as if nothing had happened. But inside, my world was unraveling. I felt like a stranger in my own life, questioning everything I thought I knew. Later that night, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling. My mind was in overdrive, replaying the message I'd seen over and over. My heart was heavy with doubt, with betrayal. Was I just being paranoid, or was there something more to it? I couldn't ignore the feeling that something was off, something dark was brewing just beneath the surface. The next day, I decided to confront Sarah. But not yet. I needed more. I had to be sure. The next few days felt like a blur. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off with Sarah. Every time I looked at her, I felt like I was looking at a stranger. The messages from Jake haunted me. I couldn't stop thinking about them, replaying them in my head over and over. I kept my distance, but I couldn't resist observing. The little things that never seemed to matter before now felt so significant. The way she kept her phone close, the way she flinched every time it buzzed. I started to feel like I was walking around in a fog, caught between disbelief and rage. But I couldn't let my emotions cloud my judgment. I had to be calm. I had to be strategic. If I was going to confront Sarah, I needed the full truth, not just fragments of suspicion. So I did what I never thought I'd do. I started tracking her. It wasn't something I was proud of, but the idea of blindly trusting her, of pretending everything was okay, was no longer an option. The first day, I followed her after work. It was subtle. Nothing too obvious, just enough to make sure I wasn't imagining things. She stopped by the coffee shop where she and Jake often met up. I had seen the two of them there before, laughing, talking about everything and nothing. But this time, something felt different. She wasn't laughing. She wasn't talking like she usually did. She was waiting. And not just waiting for a friend. She was waiting for Jake. My heart dropped as I watched them meet outside. Jake pulled up in his car, got out, and kissed her. Not a friendly peck on the cheek, but a long, lingering kiss that said more than any words could. I felt like the ground had been ripped out from under me. My stomach turned in knots as I stood there, hidden in the shadows, watching the scene unfold. They didn't see me. They were too caught up in each other, too wrapped up in their own world. And that's when it hit me, betrayal wasn't just in the texts. It wasn't just an emotional connection. This was real. This was something far worse. I stayed hidden for a while, my mind racing. I didn't know what to do. Should I walk up and confront them right then and there? Should I wait? I needed to process this, but how could I? The man I had called my best friend, the man who had been at my side for years, was now kissing my fiancée like they were the only two people in the world. As they pulled away, Jake smiled at her in a way that I'd never seen before, like they shared some secret, something that was theirs and theirs alone. Then they hugged, and she whispered something in his ear, something that made him smile even wider. It made my blood boil. I turned and walked away, my legs feeling like they were made of lead. I didn't know what to think anymore. Was Sarah in love with him? Was this something that had been going on behind my back for months? I couldn't process it all at once. The next few days were a blur of pain and confusion. Every time I saw Sarah, I couldn't look at her the same way. The woman I thought I knew, the woman I was supposed to marry, was now a stranger in my eyes. But the hardest part was confronting her. I had to. I couldn't keep living in this hell of uncertainty. I had to know the truth, no matter how much it hurt. And so, on a rainy Thursday night, I asked her. The rain pounded against the windows as I sat across from Sarah at the dinner table, the silence between us thick and suffocating. I could feel the weight of the moment hanging over us, a storm brewing that was more than just the weather. Every second felt like an eternity, and I could see the anxiety on her face. She knew something was coming. I could see it in the way her eyes kept darting to the door, the way her fingers fidgeted with the edge of her napkin. I had to do this. I had to know if everything we built together was a lie. Sarah, I started, my voice steady but colder than I intended. We need to talk. She paused, then slowly placed the napkin down, her face pale. About what? I couldn't believe I was asking her this. But the truth was staring me in the face, and I couldn't ignore it any longer. I looked at her, the woman I thought I knew, and the words I'd been holding back for days finally slipped out. I saw you with Jake. Yesterday. Outside the coffee shop. She froze. I watched her face go from calm to something that was barely recognizable. Guilt? Fear? I wasn't sure. But whatever it was, it made my blood run cold. She began, but I cut her off. No, Sarah. Don't lie to me. I saw you two kiss. I saw you hug him like there was nothing between us. My voice cracked a little as I said it, but I didn't care. The pain was too raw. What's going on, Sarah? Her eyes shifted to the table, unable to meet my gaze. She didn't even try to deny it. She just looked broken. I didn't mean for you to find out like this, she whispered, her voice trembling. But I don't know how to explain it. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My fiancée, the woman I was supposed to marry, was sitting in front of me, admitting she didn't know how to explain it. I felt like I was suffocating. Don't know how to explain it, I repeated, my voice rising in disbelief. How about I'm in love with Jake, or I've been cheating on you for God knows how long? Her face twisted in pain, but still, she didn't deny it. Instead, she shook her head slowly, her voice barely audible. I didn't mean for it to happen this way. I never wanted to hurt you. I laughed bitterly, the sound escaping me before I could stop it. But you did. You hurt me, Sarah. You betrayed me with him. My best friend. How long, Sarah? How long have you been seeing him behind my back? Her lips quivered, and I could see the tears welling up in her eyes. It didn't start out like that. It was just our friendship at first. But somewhere along the way, it turned into something more. And I didn't know what to do. I was scared. I never meant for you to find out. I felt my world crumbling around me. The woman I was supposed to marry, the woman I trusted more than anyone, had fallen for my best friend. She had kept this secret from me for who knows how long. I was living a lie. Are you in love with him? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. I didn't want to hear the answer, but I had to. I needed to know if she had truly fallen for Jake, or if this was just some horrible mistake. Her gaze faltered, and she choked on her words. I don't know. I care about you so much. but I feel something for him that I can't ignore. I never wanted this to happen. I never wanted to hurt you. It was as if everything inside me shattered in that moment. My mind went numb, and I felt like I was outside of my own body, listening to this conversation but unable to process it. She wasn't just admitting to cheating on me. She was admitting that she loved him, that she was caught between two worlds. I stood up, pacing the room, my hands trembling with anger and confusion. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. Everything I thought I knew about my life, about Sarah, was slipping through my fingers. So what now? I demanded. Do we just call off the wedding and pretend like none of this happened? Like everything we had was just a joke? I don't know what to do, she said, her voice breaking. She wiped a tear from her cheek but didn't try to approach me. I love you, but I love him too. I never wanted to hurt you, but I can't ignore what I feel anymore. I could feel my heart cracking as I looked at her. The woman I had been planning my future with, the woman I was about to marry, was telling me that she loved another man. And that's when the anger took over. It had been a week since I last saw Sarah and Jake. A week since the confrontation that had shattered everything I thought I knew about my life. And in that week, I had tried to do what I thought was best. Distance myself, think things through, and find some way to move forward. But no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't escape the truth. The betrayal was still there, gnawing at me from the inside, and the anger I felt wasn't something that could just be brushed aside. But the one thing that kept echoing in my mind was something Jake had said in his message. I should have told you the truth a long time ago. And I realized something. I had never been given the full picture. I had been living in a fog of lies, and it was time for me to see things clearly, to know the full story before I made any decisions. I knew what I had to do. I drove to Sarah's apartment. I hadn't spoken to her since the night we fought, but I couldn't avoid her anymore. I needed closure, even if it meant facing the pain head-on. When I knocked on the door, she opened it almost immediately, her eyes red and swollen from crying. Her face softened when she saw me, but there was hesitation in her movements, as if she wasn't sure if she should let me in. Can we talk? I asked, my voice calm but firm. She nodded and stepped aside, allowing me to walk in. The apartment felt empty, as if it was just a shell of the home we had once imagined. We sat down on the couch, both of us unsure of what to say next. I've been thinking about everything, I started, my voice steady but filled with an underlying sadness. About what happened. About Jake. About you. And I realized something. I never got the full story. I don't just want the half-truths. I need to understand everything. Sarah's face faltered, and she took a deep breath before speaking. I never meant for it to happen the way it did, she began, her voice thick with emotion. It started off innocent, but they changed. I tried to fight it. I really did. But when Jake confessed how he felt about me, I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to lose you, but I couldn't ignore what was happening between us. I listened quietly, my mind racing as I tried to process her words. Part of me wanted to scream at her, to demand she tell me more. But another part of me understood the confusion, the pull between two people. I tried to hold on to both of you, she continued. I thought I could make it work. I thought maybe it was just a phase, but it wasn't. I couldn't keep pretending that I didn't feel something for him. And I hated myself for it. But I couldn't stop. She looked up at me, her eyes filled with guilt. I don't know how to fix this. I don't know how to make it right. I can't keep lying to myself. I love you, but I love him too. And I don't know if that's enough to fix what I've broken. I closed my eyes, my chest tightening as I took in everything she had said. I had asked for the truth, and now I had it. But it wasn't a truth I wanted to hear. And then, as if on cue, my phone buzzed in my pocket. It was a message from Jake. We need to talk, man. I can't let this go on. I'm messed up, and I owe you more than an apology. Please, let me explain. Meet me at the park. I sat there for a moment, letting the words sink in. Jake wanted to explain. He wanted to tell me his side. Part of me wanted to ignore it, to walk away and leave them both behind. But another part of me needed answers. Needed to understand what had really happened, what was really going on between them. I need to go see Jake, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. Sarah nodded, her face a mixture of sadness and relief. I understand, she said, standing up. I'm sorry, more than you'll ever know. Whatever happens next, I just want you to know. I never meant to hurt you. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know if there was anything left to say. I drove to the park in silence, my thoughts swirling around me. When I reached the bench where Jake had told me to meet him, he was already there, pacing, his hands shoved into his jacket pockets. He looked nervous, like he didn't know how to face me. I never wanted it to go this far, Jake said, looking up at me with guilt in his eyes. I know I messed up. I should have told you everything, should have been honest from the start. But I didn't know how. I didn't want to lose our friendship. I never thought it would go this far, man. I never thought. I held up a hand to stop him, my voice cold. Stop. I don't want excuses. I don't care about why you did it. I care about what you did. I know. And I'm sorry. I'll do whatever it takes to make it right, he said, his voice cracking. I looked at him, my heart filled with a mixture of anger and disappointment. There's no making this right. Not for me, not for anyone. What had been broken couldn't be fixed. I don't know if I can forgive you, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. And I don't know if I can forgive Sarah. But I know one thing for sure, I can't keep living like this. I turned and walked away, not looking back. I didn't know what the future held. I didn't know if I could ever trust either of them again. But what I did know was that I had to move on. I had to find a way to heal, to rebuild my life without them. Because in the end, the hardest part of all wasn't the betrayal. It was finding the strength to let go.